Right, Year 9, today we are going to create 6 rough, small ideas for our role model artwork. We sometimes call these thumbnails in art. You can see I've got some examples here. We're going to be creating 3 portrait ideas. 1, 2, 3. Sorry, they're landscape. 3 landscape ideas. 1, 2, 3. And 3 portrait ideas. You see? 1, 2, 3. We're going to have a range of colours, a range of patterns, and a range of head and shoulder shapes. You can see that there aren't any particular images drawn on these today. We've just drawn shapes on to represent where the images will go, because it's going to take us too long if we draw each of these as separate images to represent our role model. Okay, so we're going to start with setting the page up and putting your title on. So you're going to need a pencil and also a pen. So your title is Ideas for Role Model Artwork. Make sure you've got the date on as well. You then need to grid up your page. So do this by dividing it in half first. So I'm going to make a mark at 10.5. Split it in half vertically. Then I'm going to make another mark at 14. Split it in half horizontally. I then need to split this top half into 4. So I'm going to make another mark at 7. And then split this lower half into 4. Make another mark at 7. Before I do my ideas, I'm just going to create a few lists just to remind myself of some of the things that are important when I do my design ideas or my thumbnails. So I want you to think about our inspirational artist and just think about what comes to mind and write down in this box anything you can remember about his artwork. Let's spend a minute or so on that. And when you've done that, I want you to think about your role model and think about some images that you could use to represent your role model and write those down in this box. So to create a list of images that represent your role model or could represent your role model. Okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to start the thumbnails or the design ideas. And then we'll start with heads. So if we have these 3 as our landscape and these 3 as our portraits, we're going to draw a head in each of these rectangles. And I want you to change the sizes of the heads. And also some of the heads might have shoulders and necks on them. Some of the heads might not have a top on them or might not have shoulders. So it's up to you. So heads. So remember, these three on the left-hand side are landscape, and the ones on the right-hand side will be portrait. So make some big, some small. This is just experimenting, so you don't have to worry too much about getting anything perfect. Just going to have half a head on that one. Don't know if you can actually see it on the screen. If you have time, you can add some tone or shade to that, either grey or black. Or you can wait until the end. Okay, so step one is the heads. Once you've got the heads in, we then need to add some pattern. So your patterns might be spiky or smooth. You might do what Patrick Boyer does and add sort of like a sky in the background. So he does like clouds, doesn't he, in some of his artworks. Or it might be just completely abstract. So sun rays he does. You can use the same pattern in a couple of them if you want to. Could be like a rainbow. Okay, so that's stage two. So stage one is your heads. Stage two, patterns. Stage three, we're now going to put some shapes on to represent each of the images. So these may be different sizes, or they might be the same size. You might just use circles, or you might use different shapes to represent different images. It's up to you. So if you're going to have 5 images, you're going to draw 5 shapes on just to represent where you might put those images. So that might represent a phrase or a saying. Doesn't really matter what the shape is. So you're now going to experiment with colours. So we've done heads, we've done patterns, we've done shapes to represent the images. And now I want you to think about colour schemes. And I would go for possibly 3 or 4 colour scheme. If we look at this one that I did earlier. So what have we got? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 colours in that one. We don't count the black. This one has just got blue in it, hasn't it? So this one's just a monochrome. So you can do all different colours if you want to. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 colours in that one. You can do warm colours, you can do monochrome, you can do complementary. It would be nice to see a good range of colours. So let's say we'll do 1 analogous, 1 complementary, 1 monochrome, so different tones of the same colour, and you decide on the other 2.